What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new edition of Strong Style. As you can see, we are a two-man crew this week as John Rocha is taking a sick day. We allow sick days here. That's part of our employment plan here with Strong Style. But you do have Chris Burns here. Chris, what's going on, brother?
Hanging in there, baby. So much to get to. No, you need to waste time with my intro. Let's get into it.
All right, man. And I have something planned for later, a prop, but Chris said, let's get into it. So let's just get into it. I'm Aaron Turner. I will be captaining the ship today along with Chris, my co-pilot, as we go through the craziness of this week in the world of wrestling. And it kicked off. Shit, let's just get right to it. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. I'll break it down, and then we'll talk all about it. We had Riddle and Rollins brawling all over the place here in Canada, in Toronto. So that kind of went on. And then Trish Stratus greets everybody, of course, Toronto's own, interrupted by Bayley, Io, and Dakota, with Bianca intervening and everybody just kind of dispersing. And then Io, Sky, and Dakota Kai defeated Alexa Bliss and Asuka to make it to the finals of the women's tag team title tournament, with Io Sky with the nice roll-up on Asuka. Finn Balor defeated Dolph Ziggler. And then the Judgment Day continued to mock Edge later, as it would be him and Damian Priest in the main event. Kevin Owens answered an open challenge from Chad Gable and defeated him with the old pop-up powerbomb. No more stunner, it looks like. Looks like we're keeping the pop-up powerbomb. Bayley returned to action by defeating Aaliyah in her return match. The Miz and Ciampa defeated Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles after The Miz was kidnapped by Dexter Loomis. We thought this whole time that he was going after AJ, but it looks like he was really had his sights set on The Miz. We're going to talk about it. The sounds of Rebel Heart blast through the arena as Johnny Gargano makes his return, and he was interrupted by his protege, Theory, or it could be Austin Theory again, if you believe the rumors. Riddle and Rollins continue to brawl. That was the thread throughout the match. They will come face-to-face next week in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Raw, where Kurt Angle will be a special guest. And Edge defeated Damian Priest in the main event. Post-match, the Judgment Day beat up Edge, only for Beth Phoenix to come in and make the save. So will we see Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley at some point down the road? I don't know. What do you think about Monday Night Raw, Chris?
I mean, just when you think it's like, all right, let's relax. We had, all these great Raws back to back. Maybe this will just be a chill, situation. Not the case. Not the case whatsoever. I really enjoyed this episode. One of the main things is I like when they tailor an episode to where they are, so that it eliminates a bunch of the sameness. Like, oh, we're in Toronto. Oh, Trish Stratus is going to show up. The hometown hero, even though I don't think he's from Toronto, but the Canadian hero, Kevin Owens, is going to show up to answer
Montreal
the challenge. You know what I mean? Edge is in the main event, which they advertised weeks prior. Like, just again, it doesn't take a lot. And this has been the frustration by fans, I feel like, for so long with WWE. It's not like it's this whole enterprise to make the product better. It's just little tweaks here and there. Like, oh my God, when's the last time they did an episode like this where it was like, hey, we're going to play into what's happening externally, of the WWE universe. It's not like its own pocket universe. It's like, yo, no. Like, here's a special thing for this place. And they're already planning for next week where it's like, hey, going to Pittsburgh, Kurt Angle's going to be there. You know what I mean? What's that shenanigans going to be? Blah, blah, blah. But so, I mean, that's what kind of my overall thought on Raw. So much happened. It feels like, I mean, should we like tag team each thing that went down, or?
Sure, yeah, man. We got time. We got time.
Yeah. You know what I mean? This is like when this is like when Roman Reigns is absent from an episode of Raw.
We are the Usos running the show.
That's it. So we're gonna tag team this situation. So let's start with the Riddle and Rollins thing. What stipulation do you think this is going towards? Because that's what it's got to be, right? They're gonna eventually have a cage or some shit.
I'm thinking like maybe Falls Count Anywhere. Since they're brawling all over the arena, I'm thinking maybe Falls Count Anywhere. I could be wrong. I mean, we haven't seen one of those in a while, right? Like, when's the last time you saw a good Falls Count Anywhere match where somebody got pinned on a car in the parking lot? I want something like that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And do you think this is the blow off for Rollins Riddle finally, or does Randy Orton return?
That's a good question. I don't know if Randy's ready to return. I haven't heard anything about the Randy Orton front, and I think if you're not going to push Riddle or Seth to the main event right now, you might as well just have them fight each other. So
yeah,
that'll work. That works for now.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it because it was like show hasn't even started yet, guys. These dudes are already throwing hands and losing it through the crowd. And Triple H is bringing back that like chaotic elements of Monday Night Raw, where it's like you can't. We used to sit on this show and write Monday Night Raw without even seeing next week. You know what I mean?
Yep,
it's like,
exactly.
oh, then this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. Now it's like, who knows? Trish Stratus, roll tide on. I mean, I don't know what is in the water in Canada, but I need cases of it because she looked phenomenal. She looked like she could have come out of retirement and wrestled right then and there. I like the tease of that. Thought she did great to kind of hype up the next segment. I mean, Bayley and them are just absolutely. I mean, Bayley's just killing it. She's just absolutely killing it since she returned. I missed her so much. What did you think of this segment?
Must be a lot of yoga because it does a body good apparently. Yeah, she looks great. She looks as good as she always has. Trish is not only like she's the beauty inside and out, great person as well. Yeah, man. Anytime Bayley shows up, she elevates that program. And Trish is a good talker, but she's not Bayley. And I think her and Bayley had a really awesome exchange. And I know I'm kind of getting ahead, but like I loved on SmackDown when all it was Bayley's music hit and Michael Cole said, "Oh no." And it's just like, here we go. Like she's back in the fold. It took like less than a month and Bayley is back in the fold. We don't have Charlotte. We don't have Sasha. We don't have Becky. We don't have Naomi. We got Bayley, and it's great. It's great to see her shine because I feel like she's always kind of in the shadow of those three women, those three other women, which whatever. But it's really been great to see her shine here, and who better to shine with than Trish, a not only a fan favorite, but like someone in their hometown. It's just excellent.
I mean, that was kind of the theme this week, just like the perfect foils for superstars. Like, I mean, we saw it with Trish and Bayley. We saw it with McIntyre and Sami Zayn. We saw it with Walter. I don't know who this Gunther character is. Walter and Sheamus. It was like a lot of that this week. Even Ricochet and Happy Corbin.
Yeah.
There's just like a lot of like perfect sort of foil matchups that happened this week. And yeah, I mean, Michael Cole and Bayley is some of the best long-term storytelling WWE has done in quite a while, I would say.
The best rivalry in WWE is Bayley and Michael Cole. Who would have thought?
It's crazy. And then what? Then we got the Alexa Bliss, Asuka versus Io Sky and Dakota Kai. Kind of glad that this wasn't the main event. I mean, not the main event, but the finals of the women's tag team tournament. I think at the beginning, when this whole conflict began, you would have predicted that that's what it would have been, right? But I love that they're like, no, this is going to be in the semifinal rather. And then, we've got an injury, so we're going to fix that on SmackDown and have a new team in the mix, blah, blah, blah. So, you're guaranteed, again, something unpredictable, which is the name of the game. We just we want to speculate about what's going to happen next, but we don't want to know what's going to happen next. You dig? Right. And, man, every time Io was in the ring alone with Asuka, it was magical. It was like absolutely magical. I was reading and listening to some things over the week, and like, I guess the attitude with Vince McMahon was always like, well, why do I need Io Shirai to come up to the main roster? I already have Asuka. And it's like, it's not a quota thing. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we have one Japanese wrestler. We can't have too many. Or even when Kairi Sane made it to the main roster, you just like shoved them together in a tag team and they had to be associated with one another. It's like you could have tons of different variety of, you know, same ethnicities and genders and all the things running through this program, and you create magic when it happens. You know what I mean? And that's what I think we got. Like, how much are you looking forward to a solo match between those two?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I of course, I've always been trumpeting Io Shirai. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. And we'll talk about another Japanese wrestler that I think is also one of the best in the world. And to me, you know, it's like, just put the best. Here we go. Just put the best people out there. Like, no matter of race, color, or creed. Just put the best people out there. Like, who the hell? Like, if you watched a wrestling match, but that Asuka's had before, Io's had before, why would you not want to put them together and just see what happens? Because that sounds incredible,
right?
It's
because
like,
I don't think we never got that with Kairi. Did we? Did we ever get Kairi versus Asuka?
I don't think so. No,
you know what I mean?
Because it was just like Kairi's main foil in NXT was like Shayna Baszler, and then Asuka's main foil was Ember Moon, and then Io Shirai had like Candice LeRae.
Right.
And no disrespect to Candice, but it's just like those styles just don't match. So it's good to see Io spreading the wings. I mean, it was a 0.0% chance for me that Asuka and Alexa Bliss were moving forward. I think we know where we're going with this rivalry and where these tag team titles are going, which I've actually been kind of interested in. So that's a good thing, because before I was like, kill it with fire. I don't care. What about them bringing back Dolph Ziggler, like kind of pumping him up with this theory stuff, and then he loses to Finn Balor, who to me has like no juice? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's interesting. It's like I was listening to another thing about how they were having, I guess Triple H had a meeting with creative about guys that he sort of is not certain can be fixed based on how badly they've been booked into the ground. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, one of the names was like Shinsuke Nakamura, apparently.
Okay.
But I mean, again, that's all speculation, of course. But, you know, the Dolph Ziggler like rehab program that they're on, I don't know. It's slowly working for me, I think. Okay. Because while Dolph still doesn't win matches, they are really playing up the veteran angle of him and letting him perform much longer in these matches to make other people look good, but just enough spots to where, oh, he might win. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, he's just doing his job really well right now and not being embarrassed for his efforts, which I think under the Vince regime, it was just like, just throw Dolph out there, 5 minutes, beat him, it's done. You know what I mean? And he doesn't get promo. He doesn't get any story. You know what I mean? He just gets trotted out there to be the guy. And then he's the more glorified, modern Brooklyn brawler than I think the Miz ever could be.
Are you telling me you're turning a corner on the Judgment Day? You think the Judgment Day is going to get a little juice now?
I don't. They're still just missing something. It's not. Yeah. As much I really like Balor as a wrestler. Obviously, come on, he's founder of Bullet Club. Like, it's very close to my heart. But the Prince, man, I don't know. It's like he doesn't cut enough promos, first of all, to be the leader of any faction. The leader of a faction got to talk a lot. I mean, come on. And he doesn't talk that much. And visually, it looks off when he's the leader of a faction and his two cohorts are both bigger and taller than he is. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem like the leader. And factions that are leaderless generally fizzle. And it's just kind of like, you know what? It's the Fugees, where it's like, oh, you got Lauryn Hill and two guys that are talented, But we all know why we're here. You know what I mean? Like, we want to see Lauren. We want to listen to her. We want to know what she's going to do. And that's really what the fucking Judgment Day is right now. It's Rhea Ripley's show, and what's she going to do to her pretty little sub, young Dominic. And that's really what the whole story is. I hate to say it. You're Praz and Wyclef.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to put a little more respect on Praz than what you're doing right now. But that's all right. That's all right. The Score, great album. But anyway, yeah, dude. Like, to me, they still have nothing. And I know that they're like, the thing is like, oh, we're all equals in this group. We have no leader. Yeah, still you need a leader. Every faction has a leader. The NWO had Hogan, Bullet Club, Finn Balor, Kenny Omega, Switchblade Jay White. It's changed over the years. Nation of Domination had Farouk until The Rock took it from him. I mean, DX had Shawn, then Triple H. Like, every leader has a faction, or every faction has a leader. So it's got to be Finn because he's the vet. I know Damian Priest is a veteran as well and is older than he looks, which is whatever, but he's been wrestling for a long time. But we all in the WWE universe, if we didn't follow him before in Ring of Honor, he's still like a young guy to us. So, like, he can't be the leader. Like, right. It's got to be Finn. So yeah, when Finn like talks, I just don't feel brought in to what he's doing. And I hate his wrestling gear too. The pinks or the purple scarf coming out of his pants. Like, bro, no, do something else.
You don't like the Air Aladdin?
No, I don't. I don't. Do something else. It's just, I'm a big fan of gear, and that's like the most like muted default wrestler gear. It's like black pants, black boots, black arm sleeve, and purple scarf. Like, what?
The other problem with Judgment Day is they no longer have a clear purpose. Edge's whole thing as the leader was like, basically, let me corrupt you. It's going to create the best version of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that was their like sort of mission, right?
Right.
What's the mission of current Judgment Day? We're kind of spooky and we probably listen to MCR. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand why you guys even hang out. Really, you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's like, okay, give me something, man. Like, I don't really understand, and that hurts them big time as well. When Devitt was leading Bullet Club, the mission was clear. We're the only real shooters in this company, and we're gonna prove it every time we go out by beating everyone that's got the gold, and we're gonna take it for ourselves. That was Bullet Club. You know what I mean? A bunch of evil, the evil foreigners who got, in a reverse of convention for most of wrestling fans, the non-Japanese foreigners are going to team up and basically say, fuck your Furioso, strong style, whatever. We're the only ones who can really go. And, we're going to brand everyone we beat with the boom, boom, boom. So yeah. A faction has to have something. NWO we're going to take over. We're going to do away with WCW, and we're going to implement this new thing, the New World Order. DX was, you make the rules, we break them, no matter what they are. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a good point.
Gotta have something. Judgment Day, we got angel wings because we're bad. It's like, all right, dude.
We got Rhea Ripley, and it's
yeah.
And a Damian Priest, and then we have Finn, and it's like, man, we don't have Finn like post NXT hype Finn, Universal Champion Finn. We have like beaten down Finn, who I love, by the way. I feel like crap for dogging on him, but like, let's be honest, it's not the same Finn Balor from a few years ago, and maybe that's due to the WWE machine because they kind of overdid the demon shtick for a long time, and then he was getting pounded by the Fiend in less than a minute. So I don't think it's all on him, but come on. Let's talk about Kevin Owens for a second. Like, we've seen this return of Kevin Owens, this return to form. And I kind of thought that after he did the deal with Stone Cold at WrestleMania that he would drop doing the stunner, which I hated him doing anyway because it only works for Steve Austin. It doesn't work for anybody else. And him going back to the pop-up powerbomb just yes, do that. Because they're not going to let him do the package pile driver like off the rope or anything like that. So, yeah, this is great. I love it. I love Owens' new attitude. His prize fighter mentality is finally explained. Like, what does that even mean? Oh, it means I'll come for any belt. Tag team, Intercontinental, US, Universal, WWE, fuck, women's. It doesn't matter. I'm a prize fighter. I'm coming for them all. And I think it's great. It's given Kevin Owens that fresh look that we've all wanted. Like you talked a minute ago about people that are just so far down they can't be redeemed. Kevin Owens has always been that utility guy. Like you need a guy to be funny. You can turn him in there. You need to be kind of a baby face. You can fit Kevin Owens in there. But what he's best at is cutting promos as a heel and doing this prize fighter persona. And I think it's serving him really well right now. I'm excited. I'm always excited to see him, but I'm really more excited every time he pops up on screen now.
I see what you did there with the pop-up pun.
Boom.
But what I liked about this segment more than I think anything, and it was even apparent in like the Sami Zayn thing from SmackDown of last week. I love that WWE has them embrace the crowd response now too. Back in the old regime, if somebody was a heel and their home crowd would cheer for them, they'd force them to cut some promo to be like, oh yeah, I'm from here. Good thing I got out because this town sucked. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that kind of thing. And it's like, oh, just so that they can still get booed. It's like, no, let Kevin Owens, the prize fighter character, doesn't even really have to be a heel. Much
right.
like Ronda and Brock Lesnar, like I've been preaching, they are indeed pugilists, which is a SAT word for prize fighter. And they just want the belts. They don't give a shit who they're up against, whether they're good guys or bad guys, whether they're getting a good crowd response or whatnot. You got something I want, and I'm going to take it. That's the bottom line. That's all that's happening here. You drop down an open challenge. We're in Canada. I'm going to accept it. You know what I mean? I'm a fighter. That's what I do. And I love that. I love that we're returning Kevin Owens back to form in that way. It's wild that the freshness of a product is being produced by going backwards. You know what I mean? Where it's like, but I don't even see it really as going backwards. I feel like it's a return of like back to people's pure essence, back to who they are as characters, and not just like other people on the roster that aren't Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like people are being given personalities, clear motivations, which we talked about missing from the Judgment Day.
Yep.
And, an edge to them where they seem like they matter and they seem like they're important. And it seems like we need to pay attention to what they're doing, not just like, oh, this dude's just gonna, they're just gonna meander, which was so many wrestlers on the roster did for such a long time. So yeah, I'm all for the return of this Kevin Owens. Give me more. And when him and Sami Zayn cross paths in storyline, it's gonna be fucking magical.
Yeah, I truly can't wait for that. I'm not going to jump to a super chat right now, but I did want to see. Hold on. Okay. Roberto Arsenal calling me out here saying that Bad News Brown had to play in all black gear, but it looked good on him. Yeah, that was his gimmick. Yeah. It was his gimmick. He was just a fighter from the streets.
That's right.
That was his gimmick. That's not Finn Balor's gimmick. He's colorful. He's toyetic, as they call it. It's just not great. Not for me.
Using some big diction today. I like it.
Yes, a lot of big words. Very good stuff. Bayley beat Aaliyah in her return match pretty easily. Anything we need to talk about there? I mean, she looked good.
I thought Aaliyah. Yeah, Bayley looked great.
Yeah. She wears pants. Bayley wearing pants with a lot of pockets.
Yeah,
a lot of pockets on those pants.
I don't know. Yeah, Aaliyah maybe could use a little more time in the lab. A little more time in the lab.
She's like the longest tenured person in NXT. Like her and Angelo Dawkins, I think, were the longest residents of NXT. So
I know, but maybe the chemistry just wasn't there between the two of them.
I don't know.
It did not feel like Aaliyah had any business being there with Bayley, but Bayley did her damnedest. You know what I mean? Because she's the GOAT. She's the GOAT, like I've been saying. She's gonna make it work.
people I think like Aaliyah in the company, so there's a lot of that going on. I did want to bring up something that we thought it just came back to me. I was listening to Kevin Nash this week, and he was talking about NXT. Kevin Nash of all people, and he said, the problem, of course, is you got these people in NXT. They're being developed by Triple H and Shawn at the time or whatever, and then they come to the main roster, and it's like, okay, well, we know you've been working as Chuck Fisher in NXT, but now we're going to change your name to Doug Lewis, and now you're a clown. And it's like, how do you expect somebody to go from a gimmick where they this is what they've done the whole thing, this is their shtick, this is what they're doing, they learn this character day in and day out, and it's like, okay, here's a different name and you're a clown. Like, how do they expect you to succeed? And he said, some of them come through and they succeed despite it, but it's really hard. And I think that's going to be, he said, I think that's the big difference between Vince and Triple H's mentality is Triple H is going to see it through and tweak stuff here and there, but we're not going to have like a full blown, gimmick swap. So that was Kevin Nash's thoughts on the whole idea.
No, absolutely right. I mean, I think I said it last week. They would treat NXT like it was like Earth 2, or you know what I mean, or like
yeah.
Somewhere in the freaking multiverse where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just a variant of this person, Pete. That's not Pete Dunne. That's Butch. You know what I mean? That's not. It's like, no, dude. Like, where's the Bruiserweight? Where's the guy who held the NXT, UK title forever and a day? Like, where's that guy who beat ass? Like, not this like ornery, like fucking weird Clockwork Orange. You know what I mean? Fucking whatever. Like, no, 100%. There needs to be continuity. Look what happened with Gargano, where it's like the fear is like, well, not as many people watch NXT as the main roster, right? But again, you're strategic about it. You have more of a hardcore fan base in Toronto, probably cities like Philly, Chicago, LA, people who have watched NXT. You debut these guys in these cities, you see the crowd reaction, and if you're not in the know, that makes you go, oh, wait, well, let me investigate further. You know what I'm saying? I think NXT, I mean, not NXT, AEW does a really bad job with this a lot of times. Well, they'll debut somebody that's not like a WWE guy, but an indie guy or something like that. I mean, like Danhausen is a perfect example.
Okay.
We love Danhausen.
Yep.
We know Danhausen. If you ain't on the internet like that, you don't know Danhausen. You know what I mean? And has there been one video package to explain Danhausen?
No.
Not one. You know what I mean? Has there been any sort of like, this is who the character is? It's like, you just got to fucking figure it out. And what WWE has been doing, and which we can talk about later when we get to SmackDown, but it's like, here's a character, here's the backstory. We do video packages better than anybody in the business. We're going to give you one that's going to encapsulate how we got here. You're all caught up. Great. Go cheer for the guy. And, I can guarantee you that's what we're going to get with Gargano. I mean, he even did it in his promo. It was like, hey, you might not know me. I was kind of a big deal in NXT. I won this. I won that. I blah, blah, blah. They first feud him with, I guess we could just skip over.
Yeah, let's just skip to it
for a second and just go to the Gargano thing. But, I mean, what a great freaking debut. What a great debut. No angle debut, no like surprise run-in, no attacking of another wrestler, no interrupting a promo. Just, I mean, later. But I'm just saying, it was like commercial, Rebel Heart. And you're like,
hey,
whoa, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? It's like, like Dexter Loomis, like, it's fucking literally abducted the Miz, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we get these various debuts where they get involved with something. Nope. Fade to black, come back, music, he's back, everybody going crazy. Same effect to me. Not as big, obviously, but like when AEW did debut CM Punk, like, this guy is a big deal. Like, we're going to give him a segment. It's not about him interrupting anybody else. He comes out, cuts the promo, lets you know who he is, where he's been, what he's doing, why he's back. The baby Gargano, are you ready for those t-shirts? I mean, baby wrestling, excuse me. That's gonna be huge. That's gonna be absolutely huge. And then who's the first feud they give him? Austin Theory. More NXT continuity. Oh, I was your young boy. Now I've done everything that you ever tried to do. But you know what? It's all good. You can carry my briefcase. You can carry my bags. I got a job for you. I got you. How do you do it better?
Haskell, I love you, man, but like I didn't like his music, bro. Like, bro,
Come on,
Rebel
man.
Heart. You got that's all Johnny Gargano, man. The thing I like about a return or a debut like this is when CM Punk came back, the first chord of Cult of Personality, you knew. And they kind of knew anyway that he was coming. So there's that. But like with Gargano, they hit the song and they showed the crowd first. Well, they showed the Titantron and they showed the crowd. And you could see like the crowd like processing it. And then once they process it, they were like, oh yeah. So I like stuff like that. And then he came out, huge pop. That had to make him feel good. Because there's always that little bit in every wrestler, I feel like, where even though as popular as Johnny Gargano was in NXT and is like globally, there's always that little bit that once you come back and wrestle, do they remember? Do they remember like the good stuff that you've done, even though he's quite current? And I think that once you hear that pop, it gives you that validation. I think Johnny Gargano definitely got that. I was excited to see him because I've been frustrated all this year of like, you'd see him pop up here or there on a podcast or whatever. I'm like, dude, please. I know you want to get away from that baby, but just make a decision. I know you love your kid, and you love your wife, but just make your choice so we know where you're going. And I think once Triple H got in control, obviously, and you saw what happened with his buddy Tommaso Ciampa, why not? And there was a really funny meme going around about it was Adam Cole looking at a monitor backstage, and it was the main event of WrestleMania was Gargano and Ciampa, and it was Adam Cole just like pissed. Like,
dude, we haven't seen Adam Cole in 3 weeks. What is going on there?
He's got a torn labrum. He's injured. He's injured. But we can talk about AEW not paying things off here in a minute. But yeah, so it was exciting to see him. Sorry the Miz had to get kidnapped. That stinks. Let's go ahead. Riddle and Rollins continue to brawl. And then we had Edge defeating Damian Priest. So in the main event, we had Priest getting a big spot. Haven't seen him in this big a spot since really WrestleMania with Bad Bunny.
Right.
So big spot for him. I thought he equated himself very well. I'm a big Damian Priest guy, big believer in him. He looks good, sounds good, does the right stuff. Everything about him to me says star. If done the right way, of course, I think with Triple H in control, he's going to the right direction. But what do you think about Edge here? And you think we're going to get this continuing Judgment Day feud? And are we going to get eventually a mixed tag match with Edge and Beth Phoenix against Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest or Finn Balor?
Well, it was very interesting. I was still holding out hope that Edge was going to rejoin the Judgment Day and that this was all some kind of test. You know what I mean? But like in a very Fight Club, like even if I try to stop the plane, you got to take my balls. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then once they involved Beth Phoenix, it was like, oh, okay, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But I thought it was a great match. I really want to give props to whoever was the agent on this match because the storytelling I thought was top notch. Just like Damian Priest doing certain things, and Edge just like sidestepping it or just like barely shoving him over and just being like, dude, I'm a vet. I've been doing this a long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do all the fancy shit that you want. And then even on commentary to enhance it, where I think Michael Cole or somebody was like, you know, Edge may have taught him everything he knows, but he didn't teach him everything that he knows. And I'm like, that's right. See, I mean, just little stuff like that is so perfect. And that's what commentary is for. You know what I mean? To help you tell the story that's going on in the ring, not to say a bunch of weird Vince-isms and, you know, plug other things and talk about nonsense and not say moves. Loved on SmackDown, by the way, Pat McAfee calling out Michael Cole for not knowing a move. That was fantastic. But Yeah, I thought it was agented super well. I think they had good chemistry in the ring. I enjoyed the ending. You know, I always say this kind of thing where it's like, yeah, you got to reference the real world. If somebody's spouse is right there who used to wrestle and she just sees this shit that keeps happening over and over again, she'd get involved, right? Like, I don't get
I
it.
would think so.
You know, and I mean, that's kind of my whole thing with Naomi and the bloodline. Like, it just doesn't make sense story continuity wise when someone is in the company and they don't they act like nothing's happening on the other side. We saw it to great effect with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch a couple times.
Yeah.
When Becky Lynch got deep deep sixth
Into days
by Baron Corbin. That
was so awesome.
She got involved. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but those are the things that happen and should happen in wrestling. So yeah, I'm still enjoying the story. Like I said, Judgment Day just needs something else.
Was it the Viking Raiders? And I think it was the Viking Raiders in NXT. Like, they were in a feud with Sanity, or somebody was in a feud with Sanity, and somehow they threw Nikki Cross through a table, and they were just like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that's great. But yeah, I mean, I think the world of Damian Priest. I think he's going to be a great, doing great things going forward once we get past this Judgment Day. Is it beyond repair? Maybe. I think it's just too late for Triple H to come in and do something with it. But I do want to talk about Dexter Loomis and the mystery guys, because it seems like he's got a team.
I know,
because not only was it Dexter Loomis, it was some guy that I'd never heard of. I initially thought it was Zion Quinn from NXT. When I saw the dark hair, I said, "Oh, Zion Quinn get to call it," because he's a big dude. And I was like, "Okay, that makes sense." He doesn't have to talk a lot, but it wasn't him. It was some other guy. I don't know if they're going to use him going forward, if he was just a decoy. That's interesting. Dexter Loomis maybe having a team. Maybe he's a part of a fiendish resurgence. I don't know. We'll see.
I actually would not be mad at a Dexter Loomis Bray Wyatt feud. Now that you
he's
say
so
it,
good.
I am not mad at that notion whatsoever. A bunch of people in the chat are referencing Edge doing the Canadian Destroyer. Another a great shout out to what the situation is. And then also, what were your thoughts about the promo Edge cut about coming to Toronto, hopefully in another year? They come once a year, and hopefully he sees everybody there one last time. Basically referencing that he only really plans to wrestle another year. Do you think that was just more him caught up in the moment, or do you think that this is the exit run?
I'm glad you brought that up. And yeah, I was kind of surprised by it, but at the same time, I wasn't, because Edge is not young. He came back from a serious neck injury. And not young in terms of wrestling years, but he came back from a serious neck injury. He's gone on this run. He's had injury problems during this run.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that a lot more, not just in wrestling, but in other athlete sports. I think we talked about it before, like Calvin Johnson in football, Patrick Willis at the 49ers. Like, these dudes in their prime are just like, you know what? I'm good. Like, I want to be able to walk. And we'll talk about Thunder Rosa later, but it's like, I think there's a ticking clock. Edge has nothing to prove to anybody. He's Hall of Famer, multi-time world champion, all the accolades, all the championships. He has nothing to prove to anybody. So I think this was just to prove, this run was to prove to himself that he could still do it. And if this is the end game, I want to see him have some kick-ass matches, and I think that's what we're going to get.
I mean, absolutely. You nailed it when you said that Edge has nothing to prove. Edge was a guy who was always good, but I think Rocha mentioned it a couple weeks ago. Like, I remember not thinking Edge was ever going to be like a main event guy. You know what I mean? He was like a mid-card, intercontinental title, US title kind of level, tag team championships, and, dominated those arenas. I mean, come on, he's part of one of the most legendary tag teams in wrestling history, and some of the most iconic matches that we've ever gotten. So iconic, so brutal that he's gone on record saying he's never doing it ever again, never doing a ladder match ever again.
Understood.
And very much understood. Then he has a career-ending neck injury. I don't know if you guys know anything about your neck, but when that is in jeopardy, you don't do anything, let alone be a pro wrestler. And after years of being on the shelf, it wasn't like, Daniel Bryan, where it's like, oh, okay, he lost a couple years of the career, did some experimental things, some cutting edge technology stuff, and came back. Edge was gone for a minute, you know what I mean, and sat out, and then came back and got right back to the top of his game. You know what I mean? Top of his game, and had some banger matches since he's been back, and has had so much gravitas to his character. It's like, yeah, he's done it. He's done the thing. He scratched the itch. So if he wants to, ride out into the sunset over this next 365, he's earned it. He's absolutely earned it. There's nothing else to say about Edge. Already a Hall of Famer. Let him do his thing. Let him do his thing for sure.
I agree. That was Monday Night Raw. Let's get to a couple super chats here. I got one from Empire Fan 1980. By the way, Streamlabs I do not have access to, as Rocha is not here. So if you want to send in some support for the show, send it through super chats today. If you send it through Streamlabs, I can't read it, but thank you. So we may get to it next week. I'm not sure how that works. But Empire Fan 1980 says, WrestleMania this year, Bayley versus Michael Cole. What do you think?
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bayley got to be careful. Michael Cole is undefeated at WrestleMania, right?
That's true. He did beat Jerry the King Lawler, right? Yeah. So he's a legend. He's a legend.
He's the new Undertaker streak that is unbroken at WrestleMania. Shit is out of control.
He's the legend killer. A lot of love for Trish Stratus in the chat, as there should be. Haskell says final Edge opponent, Randy Orton.
Maybe. Who would you say is Edge's greatest rival?
John Cena.
John Cena? Oh yeah,
I think so. Yeah, all throughout that run, John Cena, and I would say that John Cena is or Edge is John Cena's greatest foil. So I would say that's his best rivalry.
See, that I would say Randy Orton is probably Cena's biggest foil.
Maybe. I feel like they had the most matches together, but
yeah.
I always remember him and Edge. Like, he threw Edge in the Long Island Sound. Him and Edge had that that crazy ladder match. Edge beat him at the Elimination Chamber to win the champ. Anyway, go on and on and on. I just feel like it's Edge. All right. Like I said, super chats only, please, unless you want to send a Streamlab and not get it read.
I'm about to say, guys, we are down a man today. John bravely battling the COVID-19 virus. You know what I mean? We need you to be our third man. We need you in the chat to be our third man.
We need to be lively
for the show. Send in some super chats. Give us some things to talk about. Give us some questions you want answered. If you just want, us to do, some improv comedy together, like do whatever you want. Just send in some support. We'll take care of you.
Throw in a super chat. Throw in a trivia question. We don't care because I didn't make any for today. All right. Let's move on to. I got some NXT notes I just want to run by real quick. We don't have to talk about the whole show because it was mainly forgettable. But the following matches were made for Worlds Collide, which is in a few weeks here for NXT. That's NXT versus the rest of NXT UK as it's folding. We talked about that last week. It was announced that it will be, oh boy, Mandy Rose defending her NXT Women's Championship in a title unification bout, triple threat match between the number one contender for the UK Women's Championship, Blair Davenport, you may know her as B. Priestley in those days, and Mako Satomura, the NXT Women's UK Champion. Oh boy, okay, we can talk about that in a second. It was also made official that Braun Breaker will take on the big strong boy Tyler Bate in a unification bout for the NXT UK and NXT Heavyweight Championship. Should be a good one. Indy Hartwell and Dexter Loomis reunited, only for Dexter to get arrested. Santos Escobar came back and he met with his cohorts at Legado del Fantasma and said, hey, I'm not going to leave you guys behind. So it looks like they're going to the main roster. And it looks like there are also some rumors out there that I heard that Indy Hartwell and Solo Sikoa may be getting the call up soon as well. So thoughts on some NXT news and notes there?
We talked about it already, man. Continuity. NXT is in universe. This ain't Marvel and Sony. This ain't Marvel Fox. This is one WWE EU. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's right.
That was the first question I had when Dexter Loomis started showing up on the main roster. Isn't he married? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is his wife? Where is Indy? Wouldn't she be like, holy shit, my husband's showing up on my man Raw, freaking everybody out? You know what I mean? Like, what does the NXT wrestlers not watch Raw? They don't care. They don't give a shit about it. So it was like,
not here for that.
So great to see them close the loop on that. He returns to NXT, shows up for his bride, and promptly taken away because I guess the story is he is not re-signed. He is absolutely running amok under his own accord, and you have to be dealt with accordingly by authorities when that happens. So he left a little note, goodbye for now, but hopefully it won't be for too long if indeed Indy is brought up to the main roster. I think that she's earned it. I think that she can definitely hold her own up there right now. So, and it adds an extra wrinkle to the Dexter Loomis character and gives you more storytelling opportunities than just this sort of one note, like, quiet psychopath thing that they go for with him. I like layers. I don't like onions, but I like layers.
You don't like onions?
It's a whole thing. That's a whole
okay. All right. Fair enough.
And then what you call it? Yeah, we've been saying forever that Santos Escobar should be on the main roster.
Yep.
And again, continuity. Bring the stable. Like, why wouldn't you bring the stable? It's a great act. It never made any sense to me to develop an act in developmental, which is what NXT is, and then once it's developed, ditch it immediately. And once they go to the main roster, why'd you develop the act if that was the point? Remember what happened with the Wyatt family? You developed it in NXT, you brought it to the main roster, and it was great. That's what we're going for here. So yeah, come on, bring Legado del Fantasma up to the main roster, see what they can do. You texted us when they made this women's triple threat match that Mandy is going to die.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I think you're right on the money there, pal. Those are some heavy hitters. If you know anything about Blair Davenport and Mako Satomura, these chicks lay it in, and they're going, and Mandy's gonna get kicked a lot. Kicked a lot in this match. And then yeah, dude, I mean, Tyler Bate is the quietest big bout machine in wrestling.
Yep.
This dude has had, forget bangers, I mean masterpieces with people. He had a masterpiece with Trent Seven. He's had a masterpiece with Walter. He had a masterpiece with Pete Dunne. He has had several just like, I don't even, and then I was just about to say it, Justin, he's only 24 years old. 24 years old. And the dude has had some incredible matches. So polished, so smooth, so strong. He's a big, strong boy. And just well beyond his years. You know what I mean? Sad Mustache Mountain is gone for now. But no, I mean, this is gonna be awesome, and he's gonna surprise a lot of people because I mean, I don't think he's been out of the spotlight for a while because he hasn't been on NXT proper, and they haven't really promoted NXT UK. But him versus Braun Breaker, I mean, that could really, really be something.
Yeah, you saw him like if you watch NXT, he wrestled Von Wagner, and he made Von Wagner look great.
Yeah,
and Von Wagner's a big boy, and he was throwing Von Wagner around like nobody's business, and he didn't beat him with the Tyler Driver, which is his strong move. He used the Twisty Boy to defeat him. So that's cool. Yeah, Tyler Bate, you're never going to hear me say a bad thing about him. I love this guy. I think like you said, he's quietly like the best wrestler, one of the best wrestlers in the world. Just so good at what he does. I think that Mustache Mountain versus the Undisputed Era, which I think we did a watch along on the show at one point, is one of the best matches in NXT history. It's so good, and they told a great story. I miss Trent Seven. Like I said, I think they're going to bring him back. Him and Tyler Bate as a package is great. Interesting to see what they're going to do with how they do this. Like, is Breaker ready for the main roster? And they're going to let Tyler Bate run NXT? Like, I don't know how that's going to go. Excited for Legado. I think, like we said last week, I think he needed a little something extra, and he got the whole group. So why not? Like, we're putting more emphasis on the tag division. We got one right there. And, of course, we could always use another female for the division. Now we got Elektra Lopez. I think she makes a great package to go with that. And I think it's perfect. And we'll talk about Mako Satomura. Like, when that happened, I said, oh, dear God. Yeah, I love Mandy. It's a gimmick, everybody. But I'm not stupid. Like, I went to the second Mae Young Classic. I sat through all those matches, all 21 of them, and sat there and watched it. And I was flabbergasted by Mako Satomura. I'd never seen her wrestle in person. And I saw her against Mercedes Martinez, and I think like the quarterfinal, and it was the best match of the entire tournament. And I fell in love with her from there. And I think she is excellent. I think she equates herself not only as a threat with her wrestling ability, but just her presence. Like when she came out, the NXT Universe was quiet. Maybe because they didn't know who she was. I don't know. I'm going to say it wasn't. They're smarter than that. But just the respect that they gave Mako Satomura, and when she says, "Hey, I'm the final boss," like she means it. So Mandy gonna get hurt. I think that Blair Davenport's gonna win, though. I think Blair Davenport's gonna shock us all and win both those belts.
So she's only without a thing.
Yeah, when she's not kicking Britt Baker in the head, she's putting on good matches. I've been really impressed with her NXT run. So good for her. Zeno Hour rubbing it in my face here, saying sorry, but Mandy Rose is about to be exposed and utterly destroyed. Yeah, but then again, Mandy said later, and I thought it was a good way to equate herself and pump herself up. She said, I want to test myself against the best in the world, and how am I a champion if I don't go against the best in the world? And I was like, okay, Mandy, someone fed you that line, but that works for me. Justin Toner with a $5 super chat here. He says, thank you, Justin. So he's excited for Johnny Gargano on Raw. Which wrestlers do you want to see him feud with the most? Gunther and Sheamus IC title match going to be a slobber knocker. So we're going to hold on the Gunther Sheamus talk. But who do you want to see Johnny Gargano feud with?
I mean, name a name.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I want to see Johnny wrestling, do his thing against everybody. But if I had to pick a name just like out of the ether off top, AJ Styles.
Ooh, man.
I want to see that match. Like, come on now. Hold for hold, move for move. I mean, two arguably the best chain wrestlers that, are in any company going at each other. I mean, it's because in a lot of ways, Gargano's like a young AJ. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like, I don't know if people properly remember young AJ Styles in TNA. If not, go to youtube.com, put it in the Google machine, AJ Styles' first few years in Impact or TNA. This dude, there's a whole video that's it's like the 30 moves AJ Styles doesn't do anymore or something like that.
Yeah.
This dude was doing running like backflip presses from in the ring to outside the ring without touching the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Like just displays of athleticism that are just like so bananas crazy in retrospect. And Gargano has a lot of that in him. You know what I mean? Just like the dude is just an amazing performer. AJ is just the perfect guy to bring out his entire potential, you know what I mean, and really let us see what they can do. I get goosebumps thinking about those two wrestling.
I'm gonna pull a name here that had a heck of a week. I'm gonna say Sami Zayn, because I think Johnny Gargano and Sami Zayn would equate themselves very well in a match with each other. I think that'd be a good one. I'd like to see it. Other than that, I mean, like you said, give me a name. Give me a Santos Escobar when he comes up. Give me that. Give me all that. We know that we're going to get him and Ciampa again at some point. So, yeah, give me that. Give me him. I think him in theory is going to be great. I think this is going to be really good. So,
absolutely
put him in there with basically who whoever you want. Let's see what else we got. Roberto Arsenal, thank you, Roberto, says that Will Ospreay wrestling Kenny next week should be a classic, and what a week for Ospreay. In 7 days, he wrestled in 3 continents, all banger matches. I guess we should go ahead and get to that if there's no more. Oh, I did want to address this one because I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. But someone said, and of course now I can't find it. I'm looking like a jackass. Someone said Legado. Oh, here we go. Give me Legado versus the Bloodline. But on paper it sounds great, but let's not. Let's not right now. Yeah, and AJ Styles spiral tap. Google it. It's great. One of my favorite moves that he doesn't do anymore. Okay, well, actually, before we get to AEW, I have one more thing that we got to talk about. And it's he's made a resurgence. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. It is the Velveteen Dream. Patrick Clark took to Instagram. Of course, he was let go during the Giant Cuts of 2020. He was investigated for alleged improprieties with underage boys and girls, which Triple H said that WWE investigated, but found nothing. Dream has professed his innocence since day one. He put up some new pictures of a new look here. I've got him here. Let me get to him. So new look Velveteen Dream. I mean, he kind of looks the same, but so there's what he's looking like now. He's still jacked as ever. Still looks the same. Here's him in happier times, of course, with Triple H as the North American champion. So thoughts on Velveteen Dream coming back to not only to wrestling but to the WWE. If you're Triple H, do you make that call?
I mean, these are treacherous waters to swim, my friend.
Yeah.
Listen, we live in a time of people like to call it cancel culture or whatever it is. I'm more leaning towards the responsibility era.
Sure.
If you do something, you know what I mean, like spam us with whatever's going on right now, there's consequences. There's consequences, and you accepting those consequences, whether they be legal, social, whatever, that just kind of is what it is. That's what comes with the territory of being out of pocket. In this case, this man was accused of something. An investigation was made. Nothing was found. What else is there? I mean, to me, it's not even so much a redemption story. In a way it is, because he was indeed sort of punished, for allegations. Also, there were other things going on. What he no-showed some events, or
sure.
Yeah, it was kind of, so it's like, in a way, it was strange. He's really done his time. If I'm Triple H, I'll say this. I don't know if I would hire him back immediately. I would definitely have that conversation. Yes. I definitely would be open to discussing it, talking about it, figuring out, has this guy kind of matured, learned his lesson, grown? Is this something that we got to worry about in the future? Because, damn, the dude was an amazing performer. You know what I mean? Like he reached a height in NXT that, he was one of the main ones where everybody was just like, wait until this hits the main roster.
Yep.
Wait until people see this on Raw and SmackDown. This is going to be fucking awesome. And we never got it. So it's just this big what if that's still dangling out there. And look, if I gotta really nose the grindstone, I think he deserves another shot.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that he absolutely, if they found nothing, we need something. Here's the thing though. Murderonta has it. He's exactly right. We need to hear him. I know Instagram's a huge platform. I understand. We need to hear him on a big platform. He needs to go on one of these bigger podcast shows, like come on to Strong Style. We'll talk to you. But we need him to sit down with somebody for an hour or two, like maybe Renee Young, like go on her podcast and just set the record straight. And I think that will do a lot, not only as a good PR move, but I think that like people want to know, because there's so much like, did this happen? Did that happen? Like, what exactly is he being accused of? There's so many questions out there that I don't think people even know where to begin or what he's even accused of most of the time. So I think that if we're doing this rehab that he looks like he's doing, like a more humble, he said a long time ago that the dream is gone for now. Patrick Clark has to go humble himself. So if Patrick Clark has humbled himself and we have done that, then maybe it's time to rehab the Velveteen Dream, like he's saying. So I'm for it. I think he's a generational talent. I think when he was rocking in NXT, some of the best stuff they ever did. And you'll hear it from his colleagues. I've talked all the time about me talking to Malachi Black. His favorite thing he ever did in NXT was that run with Velveteen Dream. He loved Velveteen Dream. He loved Patrick Clark, the guy. So I think that would be great. I just think, he's a young guy. He's got to change some attitudes, and maybe he has. But yeah, we definitely need to hear his side of the story and what's going on. But how do you not? If it's there, if it's clear, if it looks good, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Hey, you know what I mean? I'm totally with you. So, I Dream Part 2. You know what I mean? The Dream sequel, I'd be all in. We just got the Sandman, and the Dream was Endless was a hit, and I think the Velveteen Dream could be a hit on the main roster. If given, to your point, if he finally just sort of clears the air, lets us know what's going on, and then come on back.
Haskell says here, shout out to Haskell. He says, but what if the public, what if he goes public, talks about what happened, and then the accusers come back out, contradict what he's telling them? And if someone else chimes in to back up their claims, we're back to square one. Yeah, I think we definitely are. We got to take that one at a time. But if it's the previous accusers that have already been unfounded, I mean, I think we got to kind of go on. Like, it's baby steps. You can't just bring Velveteen Dream to Raw and put him in a feud with fucking Roman Reigns. It's not going to happen. It's going to be baby steps here or there. So you kind of have to see how the crowd's going to react to it, and you kind of see how it's going to go. I think if they brought him back to, say, a SmackDown in Orlando, I think he'd get a massive pop. I really do. All right, so let's light. If there's no more super chats, by the way, again, you can send in super chats and ask us trivia questions if you want. Anything you want to chime in with the show, keep the chat lively. Appreciate it. Please, no porn bots. Anyway, we're gonna
move on to NXT. I mean, to AEW real quick. I want to thank everybody for the support with the super chats. Sorry that we couldn't get to Streamlabs today, but I also want to thank you guys for the amazing 5-star reviews that you've been giving the podcast. Because we are indeed on our own separate podcast channel on all places you find your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you can find it. But please continue with the 5-star reviews. We did a giveaway where Aaron gave away an action figure to one of our listeners, and I want to do the same exact thing. I got all sorts of goodies in the house. One day maybe we'll get to shirts if I can ever part with any of them. But today, in celebration of the guy who's been giving us so much more hope, so much more excitement in WWE, I have this here: WrestleMania Elite Collection Triple H, complete with sledgehammer and that's the big gold belt, right? The big
that is Triple H from WrestleMania 19 when he beat Booker T.
Absolutely. Which I'm giving the middle finger to the finish.
Me too.
But there's a middle finger that you could place on Triple H. Like I said, you got the sledgehammer, you got the big gold belt. This is going to somebody who gives us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That's how we trigger the algorithm. That's how we get more people to know about us, to listen to us. And the show just kind of grows. So if you want that, give us a 5-star review. I'll pick somebody throughout the course of this week. I'll announce it next week on next week's show. to who the winner is, and then we'll keep it rolling like that. And don't be afraid. If you've already given us a 5-star review, you're already in the running. More people, though, more chances to win. So let's get it.
And if you're not going to leave it on Apple, just try to screenshot it and send it to us, because I see the Apple ones, but I don't see the other ones because I don't have every platform. So if you wouldn't care to do that, that would be great. Okay, Empire Fan got us another super chat. Shout out to Empire Fan again. He said, favorite women's rivalry. Mine is Crazy Mickey versus Trish.
I mean, that was a pretty good one.
How about Gail Kim and Awesome Kong?
Oh, wow.
That was a hell of a rivalry back in the day.
Out of the TNA bag. I like it. I like it very much. I was going to troll and say Dawn Marie versus Tori Wilson.
That was a good rivalry for other reasons.
But I'm actually a big fan of Beulah and Francine from ECW.
Sure.
Not the greatest,
No.
in-ring action between the two of them, but damn, dude, like it would get everyone going when they went at each other. They could not stand to be in the same place with each other more than a few seconds, and then Joey Styles screaming cat fight, and them just like, I mean, I think Paul Heyman just told them, like, go try to scratch each other's eyes out, like try to pull each other's hair completely out of your scalps and just go for it, because they were laying into each other, and it was great. I loved it.
And shout out to Beulah for having like a 5-star match with Bill Alfonso, a bloody, like, no holds barred match with Fonzie. Yeah, man. Beulah.
Go out of your way to find that match if you've never seen it.
Quite a talent.
Height ECW.
Zeno Hour says Trish Mickey was wild. Of course, Lita and Trish, says Zeno Hour again. Justin Toner hit it with the Sasha and Bayley in NXT. Another great one. There's been some really, really good ones. Charlotte Flair versus anybody.
Charlotte, Sasha, Ooh.
Just kidding. Stormy again says Trish and Lita. So, I mean, Justin Toner chimes in. Trish and Lita, great feud. Absolutely. All right, let's get to the controversial part of the show where we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. I'm going to break down some of it, and then we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this in parts. There's a lot going on. Anyway, we'll light the fuse and talk about it. Chris Jericho came out, called out Danny Garcia, not The Rock's ex-wife, which made Bryan Danielson come out and leads to Bryan challenging Jericho at All Out. So looks like we're going to get that one. Jay Lethal defeated Dax Harwood by grabbing the trunks. And after the match, Sanjay Dutt let it be known that FTR and Wardlow will be facing Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns at All Out. So that is, of course, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the longtime tag team. Colton Gunn defeated his father, Billy Gunn. Daddy ass. Anyway. Swerve in Our Glory made the save for the Acclaimed afterwards. Thunder Rosa relinquished the AEW Women's Championship in a backstage segment. So I'm going to stop right here. And Chris, let's just talk about this first half of Dynamite before we go any further. Anything that stuck out to you? Anything that you're excited about? Oh, no, the porn bots. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm excited about Jericho, Bryan Danielson. After Jericho showing against Moxley and showing that he can still, go in a way that maybe people thought was past him. I mean, it's a perfect time to put him up against the perfect wrestler in Bryan Danielson. So excited to see that. It's, the way that wrestling deals with like custody of people is hysterical to me.
Yes.
Where it's like, we're going to fight to see if this guy hangs out with me. It has nothing to do with him. He has no agency in this situation whatsoever. That's so funny. Love seeing Dax do solo stuff, man.
Yeah,
I used to get a kick. I mean, that's where you find diamonds in the rough, man. That's where you used to get like the occasional Bret Hart, wrestling by himself without the anvil. And, you'd see things like, oh, this guy can actually, what I mean? Like, is pretty good. Or there was like there's a weird old match where it's rocker Shawn Michaels one-on-one with Hart Foundation Bret Hart. It's on the network somewhere.
All right, I have to look that up. Yeah,
it is fantastic. It just for like context purposes, where you're just like, that is bizarre that was ever booked. But I mean, what a preview of things to come. And so I always like seeing that. And then also you can always like, they can pick up losses in singles competition to pad other people's records and help them get over more. And it never hurts them because they're tag wrestlers. You know what I mean? So it's never that detrimental when they lose. Colton Gunn and Billy Gunn was fine for what it was. You know what I mean? Billy Gunn's still a monstrosity of a human being. Looking forward to Swerve Scott and Keith Lee versus the Acclaimed. That should be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
Even though it is just all you people out there that don't believe the Young Bucks are trying to avoid FTR, you're out of your mind. You're completely out of your mind. How neither of those teams are involved in the AEW World Tag Team title match at All Out is bananas. It's completely bananas. How at your flagship show is FTR not involved? And I get it. There's other teams and there's other things to do. Who's hotter than FTR as a tag team? It's the biggest show of the year. Are they in a feud that's more important than the tag titles right now? Are they doing anything that is more significant than that?
Nope.
I call shenanigans. A lot of fans have called shenanigans. And when Meltzer tried to dismiss those fans, Dax Harwood told him to respectfully go fuck himself. So I think the FTR knows what's going on. We know what's going on. Come on, Tony Khan, step in here. Do better. Do better, because they should be the AEW Tag Team Champions without question. Thunder. So yeah, and then we end at the Thunder Rosa situation. I am going to talk to some people because I just don't have a handle on this. This is very bizarre. I know that she's been working hurt for a while. That's kind of been what the tea has been. But now it's like all of a sudden that all these rumors of like, you know, her having problems backstage and not getting along with people and this, you know, unending rivalry with Britt Baker. And now it's like All Out's getting ready to happen. And it seemed like she was getting ready to drop the title. Now we get I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm hurt. I can't wrestle. You know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah,
I am not an advocate of people wrestling hurt. I am not, you know, as brave and as iconic as the Cody Rhodes torn pec situation was some months back. I do not encourage that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Your health is all you got. You can have all the money in the world, you know, good job, family, whatever. If you're not in good health, you can't enjoy your life. And so I don't want to put, especially pro wrestlers who I love so much, I don't want them putting themselves in a position to where their quality of life is going to suffer. Yep. With that being said, if you've been doing it this whole time, and then now you're at the height of your heat across the industry, it just seems like a strange time to now be like, oh, well, I just can't do it. I just can't do it right now. So I don't know. And we can't seem to get a clear explanation on what the deal is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Why has her run been so weirdly booked? Why has she not been featured as much as possible? Why are we getting so many stories of like, oh, sandbagging, or she hurt me, she worked stiff? But then you get the converse stories of she's been really vocal about getting people opportunities and having younger wrestlers, you know, get more TV time, and she wants to work and help develop people, this, that, and the other. I don't know. I just don't have a handle on this, man.
Yeah, it feels very odd. If you caught her interview on Busted Open when she called in, it's on our TikTok. If you haven't, strong_style_live, the interview is on there. She said she can't walk. Like, she's laying in bed. She couldn't even sit up to do the video interview. She said she was laying in bed. So that sounds like a, you know, sciatic problem. I'm not a doctor, but that's what it sounds like. I mean, you know how bad you have to be hurting in your back to not be able to get up, that's bad. And I mean, let's look at the picture. Like, I posted a minute ago, but let's look at it again. That's somebody that's in pain. Like, it's not just a gimmick. That's somebody that's in pain. But the thing I don't like about it, Chris, is Rosa, and maybe she couldn't walk to the ring, but they have Rosa do it backstage with Tony Schiavone. It's like, yeah, I give up the belt. Like, could we not have her at least on the ramp in the arena where people could see her and she would be like, I have to give up this title. I'm sorry. I love you guys or whatever. And then she goes away and then Britt Baker comes out and just walks like right past her. So that way we've got something to build with. We got a little bit to build with. We got something there, and it doesn't, completely bury Thunder Rosa. And talk about it in a second, so I'll skip that. But it's an odd situation. I don't know Thunder Rosa personally, but I've met her like a handful of times. Always cool, always the best. Never met Britt Baker or anybody like that, but she's always cool, man. I feel like she always keeps it real, I guess, for lack of a better term. She always keeps it 100 with everybody. And I feel like it's something she wouldn't lie about. Like, whether she has heat with the locker room or not, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know. People don't tell me this kind of shit. So she could very well, but I feel like this is a real serious thing. And I feel like it's not only her back. She said something about her neck and her shoulder as well. And she said that, when, she wants to be able to walk when she's 40, she wants to have kids one day, and she's not going to risk it. And she's not cleared. She said her doctor would not clear her to wrestle. So I feel bad for her because her whole title run has been snake bit. Whether she's been injured the whole time or what, I don't know. But it's not gone well. And now we're getting a fatal four-way as a replacement with Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm versus Britt Baker versus Shida. So we'll see what happens there. But just a sad state of affairs for her. Let's go back to, unless you had something to add on that.
No,
okay.
It's been a sad situation.
Let's jump back to Dax versus Jay Lethal. Great match between both guys. Got Jay Lethal for me to care about Jay Lethal. I'm glad that I care about him now. I think he's doing good things. Motor City Machine Guns, I thought they were baby faces, but whatever. Motor City. Always good to see those guys. They're great together. Of course. Colton Gunn defeating Daddy Ass. Do you have a problem with that?
No, that's what Billy Gunn's there for. He ain't there to win matches. Were they going to push him? You know what I mean? Like, he's no. That ain't gonna happen.
Shout out to Max Caster for saying Billy should have wore a condom. Just very, very good stuff. Swerve in Our Glory. Where was Keith Lee? Like, Swerve was out there to the ring, and then like 5 minutes later, Keith Lee came out. And I was like,
he's a larger guy. You gotta take his time.
So am I, but I was like, Keith, like, brother, come on. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm going to get to a super chat before we move on here. Black Cinema Critic, good friend of ours, thank you for the support, said, the booking of the past months for AEW has been atrocious. Tony needs help. You can't have Jade out of the books or Wardlow, and you can't have your women's champion do a pre-recorded spot. Ding, 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 ding. I think that's part of the problem. I think the booking lately has been kind of crappy and very questionable at best. I don't know what Jade Cargill does. I don't know what she's doing outside of wrestling, but she's the TBS champion and she's on TNT, not wrestling. She had that match with Madison Rayne a few weeks ago, but we haven't seen her since. And then you have Wardlow, who's your big champion, and he's fighting Dolph Ziggler's brother on a Friday. We know he's going to kill him. So nobody watches Rampage. That's not like a controversial opinion. That's a fact. Look at the ratings. I think everything else you've said here, Black Cinema Critic, is exactly right.
I mean, Tony, get a whiteboard, bro. Get your roster written out and just say, like, okay, like, I don't know, just like outline some things, bro. Outline some things for the time period that you want it to last, and just figure it out, man. Because right now it is I can't speak for what's happening backstage. I have the people I know in AEW have lent credence to the notion that there is a very chaotic environment currently backstage. And I mean, honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with ability. Tony Khan has booked some amazing moments in AEW, and the wrestling quality is still top tier for every match that happens. However, to your point, Black Cinema Critic, it's like people just go for so long without being on TV, and then these weird, you have this show on Friday that you're trying to elevate, and you just do these weird ass squash matches, like squash match after squash match after squash match. Like, come on, man, take a cue from what's happening in WWE right now. And if you're gonna have 2 shows and all those hours of TV time, make them distinct. I'm not saying do a brand split in AEW. We don't need that in AEW. But you can, I mean, much like the idea when Raw and SmackDown first happened, right? The idea was Raw was going to be Austin's show and SmackDown was going to be The Rock show.
Yep.
And that's how that was going to roll. One roster, you know, everybody going back and forth, but like the main crux of a situation per show. They got to figure that out. That Rampage has no identity. You know what I mean? You made a TBS championship specifically for that show, and you don't defend it on that show. I don't like, it doesn't seem like it's that difficult, but this is what happens. Things fall through the cracks when you're just doing too much. We all have such a limited, finite bandwidth of things that we can pay attention to and handle. And, you know, I guess Satnam Singh is like helping with the booking or something like that. I don't know, man. I'm just like, William Regal's right there.
Yeah,
you know
really?
what I mean?
You're exactly right there.
Regal's right there. He's in your company. He works for you. Give him some responsibility. Daniel Bryan was helping out with the creative on SmackDown, and he did some good stuff when he was there. Utilize these people, man. They are vets. They have been there, done that. They've seen it all. They've done it all. They can help. Utilize them. There was a period of time where in AEW you had Tully Blanchard, you had Arn Anderson, you had Jake Roberts, you had all these like amazing wrestling minds all right there. And it was still just Tony like, I'm just doing everything. I'm just going to do everything. And that's when his roster was significantly smaller than it is now. It has ballooned to a state where, come on, man, you got to delegate. Got to delegate. You know, if you need some help, I'll help you. So come on, call me.
There you go. Black Cinema Critic sent in another one. Thank you, sir, for the support. It says, it's been reported by multiple people that Britt Baker and Rosa have nuclear heat. Baker was bullying her after a show or 2 with Jamie Hayter. I'm going to tell you why I don't believe that they bullied her, because Thunder Rosa could whoop their asses because she's a legit MMA fighter. And she even said as much on, I mean, she said it, but she said in that Sirius radio interview, she said, listen, I'm hurt, but I just want to put it out there that if I wanted to beat your ass, I'll still beat your ass. So I tend to believe her. I don't think that anybody is bullying Thunder Rosa. They might be saying things, but they ain't bullying Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I've interviewed Thunder Rosa before, and that is a firecracker right there. And and again, she's legit. She's a shooter. You don't want that smoke.
No. Black Cinema Critic again. Thank you, sir. $2 says, I was at Rampage. I'm a Rampage apologist.
Hey,
it's you. You're the apologist.
You're doing the Lord's work, man. Good luck.
I love it. Or was that Empire? No, I'm sorry. Empire fan says, the hell is MJF? As soon as he's gone, AEW falls apart. Yeah. Where is MJF? Where?
If I can quote Conan for a second, let me speak on this. That MJF was a work, guys. A work. It was exciting. There was speculation. We didn't know what was going on initially. The whole thing was a work. I'm here to tell you. And so him being kept off TV and all this stuff is being done on purpose currently. And it is a horrible decision. It has been a terrible decision. I understand if the notion is, well, he comes back at All Out and blah, blah, but dog, you are losing too much ground. The boat is taking on too much water. You know what I'm saying? You gotta at some point address it. You can't just be like, stick with the plan. We got our heading. You got to address it. You're taking on too much water. Get some sandbags. Get something. We got to make this. We got to stop the fucking bleeding, yo.
Fucking buoy.
Let's go.
Gramash says real quick, stop this narrative that AEW is falling apart. Far from it. I don't think AEW is falling apart.
Yeah.
I think they're being met with some challenges, and we're going to see how this young company addresses those challenges. That's really about it for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not hitting the doomsday button.
No, we're not there yet. Let's go with the rest of Dynamite, then we'll finish here. Britt Baker defeated Kylan King, and then, of course, promptly buried Thunder Rosa, saying that, hey, I worked with a broken wrist. What's your problem? Jon Moxley defeated CM Punk to become the undisputed AEW World Champion. And then in our main event, the United Empire defeated Death Triangle to advance to the next round of the AEW Trios tournament, where they will face the Elite. Pac was beat up by Kip Sabian. I'm sure everybody was excited to see Kip Sabian. And then the Elite taunted the United Empire after the match as we go off the air. So, of course, thoughts on this Jon Moxley CM Punk deal? What the hell?
Wait. Let's quickly talk about Empire.
Okay, sure.
Because I think we're going to need more time with CM Punk.
All right.
I felt like an old man kind of watching this match. There was a lot of flippy dippy, a lot of high spots, a lot of kicky, a lot of, landing on your feet. And I understand. I felt like Cornette, where it's like, this is a dazzling display of athletic ability and move sets and the like. Felt like a video game fight. It did not feel like a real contest. It did not feel like these men were trying to kill one another. The one spot I enjoyed is when I think Pac and Ospreay both did like these Hurricane Ranas, and that took out their other teammates, and then they both like slowly caught eyes as they pushed up to stand up, and like that was going to be the showdown moment. I enjoyed that, but there was no real storytelling in this match. It was just move, high spot, flip, move, super kick, slap the leg, move, off the ropes, over the ropes, outside the rings, dive, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I can enjoy that on sometimes. I guess maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. You know what I mean? I wasn't in the mood for it. I don't like those kinds of car wreck matches as main events.
Sure.
I like those as like mid mains. I don't want to go home on a car crash. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. It doesn't fit the right energy for that slot for me. Maybe that's what the whole thing was for me, but I just didn't really connect with this. Again, they're all very impressive and top-notch athletes, but I like selling in my wrestling. I like psychology in my wrestling. I like, if a big move happens to me that kills me, I shouldn't kick out. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
all that kind of thing. So that's where I was on that match.
You know where I'm going to go with this. 100% agree. I like when Ospreay blocked the cutter from Phoenix. I was like, nope, that's stupid. I was like, I'm done. I didn't care about Kip Sabian. I don't care what you say about Kip Sabian. He could be fucking Ric Flair. This guy should have been gone from the company. I don't care. Fuck him. Okay. I don't know him personally, but I just don't care about Kip Sabian. I know that the 6 guys that were in that ring wrestling each other are uber talented. I know that. I know Will Ospreay is touted as one of the best in the world. He's not for me. not every wrestler has to be for me. They can still be great on their own. They're not for me. I said for a long time, Jon Moxley wasn't for me. Guess what AEW did with Jon Moxley? Made me care about Jon Moxley. I can't believe it. They did it. So there's time for me to change my mind. I always say that I reserve the right to be wrong and change my mind. But for right now, Will Ospreay, not for me. The stuff with the Elite, with the Young Bucks trying to be baby faces is killing me. Stop it. Kenny Omega's the baby face. People want to see Kenny. They don't give a shit about you right now. They don't care. They want to see Kenny. And they got that. And I guess there was people in the chat keep saying there was a promo that went off. Well, they went off the air where Kenny and Will were trading barbs. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. But yeah, the match isn't for me. It's never going to be for me. So there's that. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about this Punk and Jon Moxley thing. Let me start here. I wasn't expecting it to go the way it did. I don't think anybody was. But like I said, they made me care about Jon Moxley. He came out. He was mad. He was with Regal. And I was like, okay, all right. He just came out and he's I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight. Bring CM Punk out of here. I'm ready to fight. And they got into it. And I was like, God damn it. I think Jon Moxley might win this thing. And then CM Punk did the thing. And I was like, oh no, they're going to have Jon Moxley either win by like, he can't continue or Jon Moxley's going to win. So when that happened, I kind of figured I knew where we were going with this. And to see him beat Punk flat in the ring 1, 2, 3 was a little jarring, but I understood it from the aspect that if we're telling the story that Punk came back too soon or he's still injured, legitimately, I'm okay with it. But you can't tell the story that Punk came back too soon and then in 2 weeks at All Out, he's going to be fine and they're going to wrestle again. That doesn't make sense either. So and then again, this should have been the main event. I don't know why the 6-man. I know why, but this should have been the main event, not the 6-man. It's a fucking world title. But I guess it popped a good rating. So there you go. Your thoughts on CM Punk essentially getting dominated by Jon Moxley?
I am definitely in the camp of, oh wow, that was unexpected. I'm riveted by the storytelling. Absolutely. Because there's precedent. It's Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, where everyone was sure Goldberg was not leaving Crown Jewel or whatever it was with the world title off of Brock Lesnar. And then Lesnar makes a mistake, gets speared right off the bat, and you get a UFC situation where somebody got caught slipping. You know what I'm saying? And I love you have to do that every now and again in pro wrestling. You know what I mean?
Keep it honest.
That's the All Japan playbook from back in the day. I don't know how many of you are familiar with 90s All Japan wrestling, but they were known for these super long matches, and just like New Japan kind of institutes it now, where it's like these marathon matches. But then every now and again, their top guy would just get squashed. Just every now and again, just to, like you said, to keep it honest. No, don't fall asleep. You better pay attention because it could be over in a blink of an eye, as real fights can be. Sometimes you get boxing matches or MMA matches that go the distance. Sometimes motherfuckers get knocked out immediately.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, dog, that's how pro wrestling should operate too, since we're trying to simulate combat.
Yeah.
And God bless the commentators. They kind of blew the call. It wasn't the foot that Punk kicked with that was injured. It was the one he planted.
Foot. Yeah.
But whatever on that mishap. But so yeah, I was with it. I liked the way it was executed. I liked the way it was handled. Loved the Jon Moxley promo afterwards. It was like, oh, I'm sorry, was that not supposed to happen? You know what I mean? This, that, and the other. Like, fantastic stuff. A little too telegraphed.
Okay.
A little bit.
Fair enough.
Don't tell me that you've moved the main event of All Out to television and there's still an hour left of the television show. Don't do that. Don't tell me that. You know what I mean? Don't let me know that there's still a tag match to come. what? Like, don't tell me you're one of the biggest matches that we've been anticipating for months is happening, and there's still some more shit that's gonna happen afterwards. You're setting me up for shenanigans, and so now I'm waiting for the angle, and then the angle came, and I was like, oh damn it! Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to wait for the angle. I wanted to be just invested in what's getting ready to happen, and then damn it, I knew something was up, and something was up. If they would have not done that, I think it would have went off. It would have executed a shit ton better. That's my only thing. But otherwise, I enjoyed it.
Okay, so in the chat here, we've got Clarissa saying the length of the Punk match shouldn't have put it on as main event with 5 minutes left in the show. It was only 5 minutes long. Okay, I appreciate that. Haskell says, agreed, should have been the main event, but what did they do? Start the match at 9:50, 9:55. Chris already kind of gave away my thing without even knowing it. But like in MMA, if there's a UFC event and somebody it's the main event, they started, 45 minutes before the end of the show. If somebody gets knocked out, they give you filler. They give you filler matches from the pre-show. So what I would have done, and then again, this is armchair booking, but I would have had it as the main event starting at like 9:30, 9:25, somewhere in that quarter hour so you can pop a rating. And I would have done the same thing. And I would have come back. I was like, guys, we didn't expect this. We'll be right back. Then they go to a commercial break. They come back. The commentary team's just sitting there like, I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what's going on. We didn't expect this. We expected at least, this match had a 1 hour time limit. We were not expecting this. We don't know what's going on. CM Punk appears to be injured. I would play it as real as I possibly could and keep it that way. That's what I would have done. I think it was, let's see, Zoom Station said that wrestling isn't pro wrestling ain't MMA. No, it's the other way around. MMA is pro wrestling. Look no further than Israel Adesanya's entrance. He was the fucking Undertaker at the last show. But anyway, we had so I just wanted to throw up a couple pictures, of course. This is kind of what they did to the whole audience. Like, hi, you thought you were getting something? Well, here's that. And then of course CM Punk, being out of there, a broken man was CM Punk during that. So I think there's ways you could have done it without giving it up. And you could have created the same thing. So
yeah, Zoom, you're right. Pro wrestling isn't MMA. That means they could have done anything. You know what I'm saying? They have the power to tell whatever story they want. They could have started the match at 9:30. It's over 5 minutes later. Couple go to commercial, come back. Moxley cuts a promo, and they could have had a planned segment of chaos and embrace the chaos and really drive home. You don't really know what's going to happen. Not, and after this main event, there's going to be another main event for the trios tournament. No, that just lets you know that they have something up their sleeve. And I'm glad, I'm not backstage. I'm not planning these things, but pro wrestling is a make-believe world. You can literally do anything. So to say, well, what are they going to do? Put it with their 5 minutes left? No, you could do whatever. You could do whatever, but don't tell me that there's more show planned past your main event that's starting an hour early. Like, something's happening. It. The match is too big. It was too big.
Yeah. And for 40 years, we've been told through the WWF lens that they don't book these shows in advance. They book them on the fly. Monday Night Raw doesn't have a main event till they get there. So don't tell me that it can't be done that way. I think there was ways around it, and it just didn't happen the way that it wanted. So where do you think they go from here? Like, are we going to get it at All Out, or what are we going to get?
From what I understand, we're getting a rematch of Punk.
What the fuck? It doesn't make any sense.
And to me, it's kind of booking yourself in a corner because it's like now Punk is the injured underdog in Chicago. They're going to cheer the shit out of him in Chicago. But Moxley has done so well as the champion. He's as hot as ever. Yep. Now is not a great time to take the belt off of him. But you kind of have to. You know what I mean? In Chicago. Unless MJF gets involved. But then it's like you're retreading old territory. We just had Punk. You know what I mean? Heel MJF. unless Punk's turning heel and MJF's the babyface, that's the only way this really works right now. But I don't know, man. Again, it's pro wrestling and you can do anything. I almost feel like they should have done this at the pay-per-view.
There you go.
In Chicago.
Now available tpublic.com. Make it make sense. You can buy that at tpublic.com. So there you go. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about this Sammy Guevara Eddie Kingston deal real quick. Because apparently Eddie Kingston got suspended for a week for taking a swing at Sammy Guevara after he went on Rampage a week ago and called him a fat piece of shit like the fans. And Eddie didn't like that very much. So he allegedly took a swing at Sammy Guevara, got suspended. Sammy Guevara and his wife Ty Conti have apparently nuclear heat backstage. So what are your thoughts on Eddie taking a swing at Sammy Guevara, and what do they do with these two going forward?
I mean, I'm hearing similar things about Sammy and Tay backstage. It was right that he was suspended. Eddie even himself says he was in the wrong and he deserved it. Because you can't set a precedent that this ain't the old days where, wrestlers are swinging on each other and putting each other in face front holds. They're back in the locker room and nobody gets consequences. Like, we don't, save that energy for the ring. Just like, they say to football players, save that energy for the field. I don't know. It's just another domino in the weirdness that's kind of happening backstage in AEW. It's like, yeah, where has Eddie been? Oh my, wait, there was a confrontation. Like that, they got to it. It's like what you hope they can do is figure out to earn some money off of it and use the shoot to create a work and say, play into it. There was, speculation that you guys would have beef and you got into it backstage, turn it into an angle. Edge had sex with Matt Hardy's girlfriend and they turned it into a television storyline. I did not like the ending because Edge won that feud weirdly, but it was money and it was a hot feud. And if these two can be professional about it, I think there's something there, but that's really in the hands of the two performers.
Roberto Arsenal says being called a fat piece of shit doesn't warrant a punch in the face. I would disagree. As an overweight man, if someone came out there and called me a fat piece of shit without clearing it with me first, I might take a swing at you. And sometimes you have to humble a young fella. And I think that's what Eddie was doing. I think Eddie was humbling a young fella saying, listen, man, I get it. We're working here, but don't fucking do that ever again. So I think that's part of it. Sometimes you got to humble a fella. And that's as far as that goes. Anything else you want to talk about that, or you want to move on to SmackDown real quick? And
let's go SmackDown.
All right, guys. About 93 of you guys watching. Appreciate the support. Keep sending in the super chats if you'd like. Let's go to SmackDown. We had Ricochet defeating Happy Corbin. Good to see Ricochet. Sonya Deville and Natty won the second chance fatal four-way tag team match for the women's tag team title tournament. And it looked like Nikki ASH may have been legitimately injured. She was carried to the back by Doudrop and some referees. Looked like she may have hurt her knee or her foot. Gunther and Sheamus have a heated exchange, which led to Butch attacking Ludwig Kaiser. Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah ended up defeating Natty and Sonya that night to put themselves in the finals of the women's tag team title tournament against Io and Dakota. The New Day returned and beat up the Viking Raiders finally, because they've been getting beat up by them for about a month. And then we had this thread all night long of Sami Zayn doing the bidding for Roman Reigns. Unfortunately, Sami did his best, but he was defeated by Drew McIntyre, and then the entire bloodline whooped on Sami Zayn. Whooped on Drew McIntyre. So what did you think of SmackDown last night?
This was a fun show. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it from the beginning. It's great to see Ricochet picking up wins and showing off what he can do. I mean, this man is doing backflips off of people just standing upright in front of him. I just like the notion of that as just a novelty is crazy that he can do that. And it's like nothing to him. It doesn't even like register as effort. You know what I'm saying? Ricochet's incredible. I'm glad that he's getting a showcase. If you would have told me that match was going to happen, I probably would have grown like, oh, this ain't going to be any good. But they worked really well off of one another, you know, and a lot of spots where it's like, you know, Ricochet's doing his high-flying offense, and then Corbin's just like, I'm just going to grab you by the throat and toss you. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's how those kind of fights should go, right?
Yeah.
But good to see Ricochet picking up clean win. They're building him back up to where he was in NXT, which is nothing but a good thing. The man deserves it. The man's got the talent. Let him do it. Keep him off of the microphone, and we'll be fine. The women's match, a little sloppy at parts, and then also I thought kind of an anticlimactic ending where it was like big spot. Sonya Deville just like, I'm gonna pick you up, throw you in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Didn't even do a finisher.
No,
you know what I mean? It's like at least get her finisher over. You know what I mean? Don't, you know. But other than that, don't know if Nikki was hurt, because then later on we saw her arguing with Doudrop in the back of the segment. I love that they're the like background players. Like when the Dexter Loomis car crash happened, they were there like bickering, and now after this match, they're in the back like bickering. Clearly, that's going somewhere. If I know Triple H, he wouldn't just do it arbitrarily. So I'm glad that they're going to get a story. So that was some fun. I don't know what to make of the Hit Row, Maxim Male Models, Street Profits. It's like, again, Hit Row and the Street Profits are not the same people. No. I'm not a fan of any time where it's like, well, they're all black, they're all this. I know that probably wasn't the intention, but this is where we benefit from diversity in a creative situation and in all situations. All it would have took was one black person in the creative team to be like, maybe let's not do a thing where the one team mistakes the one black team for the other. Let's maybe not do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not cool. Doesn't feel good when that happens. So let's just not do it. Also, I mean, I'm gonna pull a positive from this. It's giving us tag team feuds that have nothing to do with the titles. That's always a positive. Giving tag teams things to do so the Usos can continue as part of the bloodline and being part of that story. You know, that's fine. But yeah, the method of it, and then we're basically gonna feud over buses being defaced that aren't their buses in the first place. You know what I mean? It's a weird motivation to want to fight somebody, but whatever, you know, something to do. Whew! Walter and Sheamus. I am pumped up for this one. Do you understand? Like, I mean, Sheamus just getting the mic and spitting nothing but facts, bro.
Yeah,
nothing but facts. The man has won titles. The man has beaten everybody, including the King of Kings, Triple H, whose action figure you can get by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and wherever else you find your podcast. And yeah, he's had a bunch of bangers with people. We've talked about on the show, like, yo, that Sheamus match was actually pretty damn good he had with McIntyre. Yo, that Sheamus match was actually pretty good that he had with Ricochet. Sheamus can go. Sheamus has always been able to go. That has never been a secret. Definitely is underappreciated for it. And so for him to cut that promo, man, that was like really good. Even throwing out there that, hey, I beat Roman Reigns.
You did?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he's the guy in the trial, but I beat that dude. So what are we talking about here? Great stuff. You know, Walter coming out and holding his own on the mic. Walter not necessarily known as a stick man, but I thought he acquitted himself pretty good in this situation. You know what I mean? Like, you're a man to respect, but I'm going to chop you to death. You know what I mean? Like, what else is there to say?
No.
Like, I love it. I love it. And then even the visual of them just staring at each other while Kaiser and Pete Dunne are just going nuts around
Perfect.
them. It was, in reality, that is an absurd thing. You wouldn't, if you're in a fight with your friends wouldn't just be like fighting around you, you know what I mean, while you guys just stare each other down. That would never happen in real life. But for pro wrestling and good TV, like you said, chef's kiss. That was perfect. It reminded me of something I reference a lot, which is episode 1, which I have opinions
about Star Wars.
But one of my favorite moments of that movie is when, you know, towards the end, they're running, the Alliance is running down the corridor and they're trying to get to, and then there's Darth Maul. Jedi step forward. You guys do whatever you're getting ready to do. This conflict has nothing to do with you. You ain't on the level to deal with what this is.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about that moment with Walter and Sheamus. Like, these are two big sweaty men that are about to get it on. You scrappy dudes do what you do. We ain't even concerned with what you got going on, because this is where the real fight is. And I just love that. I absolutely love that. So super excited about that. We have I don't know if the Raquel Rodriguez, Aaliyah, Natty, Sonya thing is too much to write home about. This is an all right match. We have a final. We know now who EO and Dakota are going to beat.
Yeah, basically, yes.
We know that now. New Day. I'm happy that in this Triple H era, babyfaces aren't morons that are constantly getting one-upped by the heels and then a lot of times losing the blow-off match. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, New Day's back. They set a trap for the Viking Raiders. It worked out. Good. Absolutely. We need smart baby faces.
Xavier Woods pulled a Linda McMahon.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's in the wheelchair. I love that.
And then everything with Sami Zayn, we've been praising it every week. Getting offered an actual seat at the table, the intrigue of Roman has another new toy to manipulate, the fact that, you know, Jimmy's on board for it, but Jay is not. The fact that they're making Sammy more of a credible threat as a wrestler now, again. The fact that there's still the air that at any point the bloodline can turn on him. You know what I mean? The fact that Sammy is starting to get more babyface cheers as the week goes on. There's so many elements that make it fantastic. You know what I'm saying? You want to make a massive babyface right now, you have the bloodline beat down Sami Zayn. As soon as it happens, he's going to be the most over dude in the company. Mark my words. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy that people are going to be like, he should be Reigns for the title. I can almost guarantee it. I doubt he's going to be the guy. I mean, and I say that, but crazier things have happened. We must not forget, Sammy was the original ace in NXT.
It's true.
That's a Triple H guy. You know what I'm saying? And the guy can wrestle, and he's really good. And they've used him as a joke. But like I said, every week now, they're showing you, no. He can wrestle. He can go. He can fight. They're reminding us of that. And the more this storyline goes on, he just wants to belong so bad. But he's not all the way welcome. He's a pawn. And then they beat the shit out of him. People are going to get behind it in a big, bad way. Trust me when I say this. But I'm loving everything about that storyline. The video packages they did on Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Yo, I mean, a 2-part, like, A&E damn level documentary on this guy to, again, remind you of the continuity, how we got here, why you should care, what's happened in the past, reminding you of shit you might have forgot. And that just makes it so much richer and so much greater. Because now I really don't know what's going to happen at Clash of the Castle. I deeply still think Reigns retains, but I truly don't know. And that makes any main event fantastic generally. And him and Sammy had a good match. And the beatdown afterwards was good. And the visual of Roman on the chair over him with the 2 belts, bloodline, and then Sammy just
creeping in the back,
peeking out behind him. Just a well done. Another great SmackDown. Another great way to lead us into the weekend. Can't wait for the go home shows for Clash of the Castle.
In 1 week, I've been made to care about Jon Moxley and Sheamus. I can't believe that this has happened, because Sheamus is a guy that, I know Sheamus's pedigree. I know he's beaten Cena. I know he beat everybody, right? I've never been excited for a Sheamus match in my entire life. I'm ready for this, dude. Like,
yeah, dude.
You want to talk about, like, one of the main things that they talk about when cutting promos is talking people into the building. If you didn't have a ticket for Clash at the Castle because you were like, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, I don't really care. Gunther, Sheamus, I care. Gunther said he's going to crucify him. And I was like, holy shit, this is good. Not only was it good for Gunther because it made him look like a badass on the mic, but it made Sheamus look good too. Somehow in burying Sheamus with that, he built Sheamus up. And I love the fact that Pete Dunne wanted to get at Gunther, because I think deep down he was being reminded that, hey, you guys used to fight.
Right.
So I was excited about that. Yeah, it was very cartoon, very Looney Tunes for them to do that, but it was fine. I do want to bring this up. Clarissa says Sheamus is underappreciated. He's great. And then Bryant Brawler says, thoughts on that Sheamus Cesaro 5-match series? I forgot all about that, which led them to becoming the Bar. And how dare we, forget the Bar? We don't set the bar. We are the bar. I love that. So that was great. Big Meaty Men slapping meat's going to get me every time. As far as everything else goes, Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, just, God, it's so good. Game of Thrones came back with House of the Dragon this week. This feels like Game of Thrones. This feels like Sammy's angling for the Iron Throne a little bit. Like he's Littlefinger. And Roman Reigns is fucking, I don't know, whatever character you want to throw in there, but that's what he's doing. He's angling to be the head of the table, and I kind of like it. I kind of like what he's doing there. I think they're telling a great story, and Sammy's such a game for anything that he'll succeed in any way that he can. Let me bring up the super chat here. I just thought it was great. I thought the Sheamus and Gunther stuff was really what had me going. Right now, and later says, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bloodline story leads to Jey Uso wrestling Sami Zayn, with the winner becoming the right hand of the Tribal Chief. So what do you think about that? Perhaps getting the sigil on his chest, the old claw hanging down?
Again, we must not forget how we got here. The beginning of this whole thing was Jey Uso. Jimmy was hurt. Roman started acting crazy. And Jay was like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know what I mean? You're out here doing these despicable things, and you're saying you're doing it for the family. The family ain't with you. I'm not with you. And they had an amazing feud.
Yeah.
That was personal and crazy. And then Roman getting ready to murder him. And then Jimmy returns and he's like, dude, it's Josh. Leave. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And then he puts the injured Jimmy in a hold, and that makes Jay quit, and he has to serve Roman. That's where this whole thing got started. The key to the story is Jey Uso. And the fact that he's the one who doesn't trust Sammy. Oh, you know what I mean? It's just it's phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. And I can't, every week, I can't wait to see what's next.
Long-term storytelling at its finest. You love to see it. We've got another super chat from Bryant Brawler. Big one here. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. He said, Zayn looks like a complete lunatic with all that hair. Great show per usual, dudes. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, Sami Zayn looks like a crazy, almost like Sideshow Bob with that hair going on. So I think it works to his character. It's just,
I'm about to say,
if he was clean cut Sammy, it just wouldn't work as good.
No, it feeds into everything that he's doing, and trust it's intentional completely.
I do want to bring this up real quick. Zoom Station says Survivor Series sold out already. Let me put this in your mind real quick to think about. You know how they've been doing like the brand versus brand champion kind of thing? So if it stays the way it is right now, we're going to get Gunther versus Bobby Lashley. Oh, dude! Big, meaty Vince slapping meat. Put it in his veins. Woo-wee! Woo! That is, yeah. I'm having feelings about that.
Yes, I am.
A lot of love for the bar in the chat. Haskell says, "Hey guys, feel better, John. Show the pic I retweeted you of Drew's back that he posted this morning. Holy sheet! Thank you, Haskell. I have it right here. This was Drew McIntyre's back.
Ooh,
after the beatdown from all those dudes. So yeah, that is really something.
It's getting intense.
That is really something. I like it. I want to see more of that. It's physical. Drew's always game for stuff like that. So shout out to Drew for being that guy. Empire fan who's been showing love the whole stream. We appreciate it, dude. Empire fan 1980 says Sammy beat up the Bloodline, but saved by The Rock. Oh my God, Sami Zayn and The Rock being partners. That would be great.
If you think the dynamic between Roman and Sammy is good, that would just be that would be Mick Foley levels of fantastic.
Justin Toner has it right. He said, "Oh, there we go. No, that's Clarissa. Sorry, Clarissa. I didn't mean to, but ooh, yes." Justin Toner says Lashley versus Gunther. Inject it into my veins. Yeah, dude, put it in there. Full stop. I want that hard. That's going to be amazing. Like that. I'm looking forward to that more than Roman Reigns versus anybody right now. That sounds awesome. All right. Anything else you want to go over? You want to get out of here? We've gone over 2 hours, man.
We gave him a lot. We had to, fill in for the man, for the Outlaw. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We had to bring it. I'll give you one trivia question this week, guys, just real quick. In my daily findings of going, thrift shopping, I found this just sitting in a case, just sitting there. I had to rescue it. The WCW United States Heavyweight Championship, which has had great people hold it, such as Kurt Hennig, Bret the Hitman Hart, Booker T, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ricky Steamboat, Rick Rude, and others.
Ric Flair,
Dusty Rhodes, Sting, Lex Luger. But anyway, so my question to you, Chris, and the chat is, how much was it? Right here, $99.99 from the Goodwill. So anyway, Chris, I ask you, who is the last person to hold this prestigious championship?
Ooh.
Into the merger, who was the last one before they retired it?
That is a great question. I
will give you a hint.
Please. WCW, I told you.
Not a WCW guy. Not a WCW guy. Never was in WCW. Which feels weird, but.
Kurt Angle?
The answer? Chat? Anybody in the chat got it? Okay. It won't say. Edge.
Oh, wow.
Edge. Edge is the last person to hold this beautiful, and it's not like one of those plastic. This is not a WWE one made. This was made by FTC. So it's actual leather and metal. So it's
Sexton Hardcastle was never in WCW.
Oh, no, you got me there. Yeah. Edge was not, but Sexton Hardcastle, yes. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Chris Burns, where can they find you, sir, on the internets?
Find me at Chris_please on all the things social media wise. I'm always up to something.
There you go. Follow John Rocha on Twitter at The Rocha Says, on TikTok as well at The Rocha Says, on Instagram, I believe, at The Rocha Says as well. Send him your well wishes. He's not feeling great today, so we want to get John back in the fold. I don't know if he's going to be here next week. I think that he will be, but we'll see. Hopefully he's feeling better. You can find me on Twitter at only Aaron Turner, of course. And of course, follow the show on TikTok if you want to catch that Thunder Rosa interview. It is on there. It is at strong_style_live. So check it out there. And we will see you guys next week. And don't forget, 5-star reviews to win the WrestleMania 19 Elite Articulation Triple H figure. And if you're not going to leave it on Apple Podcasts, screenshot it, send it to us on Twitter or Instagram. We appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. There he is, the game. And we will see you guys next week with another episode